Mic check 2. Mic check 2.
How is it?
There will be delay of 30 seconds maybe.
Okay. Windy.
Mic check 2. Mic check 2.
So maybe, okay, the wind is blowing from which direction?
Maybe the way you're talking. Just keep. There will be delay of 30 seconds.
Alright, let's try it again. Ready? Mic check 1, mic check 1, mic check 1, mic check 1.
We didn't turn it off, right? So we are here.
Yeah. Alright, let's try it again. Ready? Mic check 1, mic check 1, mic check 1, mic check 1.
Mic check 2.
Mic check 1, microphone check 1, 1, 2, 3.
Well, a pleasant good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Prairie View Cricket Complex for the finals of the Houston Women's Open 2023 between the ACZ Women's Fire and the Titans from Canada. This is Brian Walters, and I'm happy to bring you the descriptions of the actions today. A very pleasant day here in Prairie View, just west of Houston, Texas. Temperature probably about 65 degrees, make it about 20 degrees Celsius. And news in the middle is that the Titans won the toss, and Captain Achina Pereira has decided to insert the ACZ Women's Fire into bat. With me, at least for a small period of time, I think is going to be the person who officially for this weekend is the tournament organizer, but has a few more titles, and we can talk about that in a minute. Ms. Mitali Chowdhury, how are you?
Good morning to all. Thank you, Brian. Good morning to you as well. And so happy that we're here on the final day, and God has been kind. The weather is just so perfect and beautiful for the finals of the 2023 Women's Houston Open.
Outstanding. So the batters in the middle for the ACC Women's Fire are Captain Ritu Singh and Sasha Valabaneni. I hope I said that properly. My apologies if I didn't. And it appears as though the opening bowler, I stand to be corrected on this, is Achina Pereira, the captain.
Is the scorer ready?
Just waiting on some information from the scorer. The scorecard has not been updated just yet, but I think who I just said is those are the principals in the action. By the way, the umpires for the day are both here from the Houston area. Umpire Myron James is the standing umpire. He's now the one right now signaling to the scorer. And the umpire currently at square leg, Owen Brown. Myron James, originally from the island of Antigua. Owen Brown, Jamaican by ancestry. So just waiting, I think, for the scorers to be caught up.
Yeah.
And at the moment, just a bit of a delay. But I think we're just about to be started. By the way, we are set up outside today. A little bit of a wind, so apologies if that sort of distorts the action for you. But anyway, we're on the way. First ball is outside. A wave and a miss. Ritu Singh generally likes to field bat on ball. And for somebody who has scored very heavily throughout the tournament, in fact, she had an 80-odd yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, just a correction, the bowler is Vandana Mahajan. Right arm over the wicket. Second delivery is defended into the offside for no run. So Ritu has had a good start with the bat. Tell us what you've seen from her so far, Mitali.
Well. So we have Ritu Singh, and whatever I've seen of her in the past and in this tournament, she, as always, loves to bat and has been performing pretty well. Actually, she has 2 players of the matches already in the league. And in the semi-finals, she was the player of the match. So here she comes to the finals, and I'm looking forward to a good batting performance.
By contrast, a good start by Vandana Mahajan. 3 dot balls. Very full and driven into the cover, as that should have been stopped but is not stopped, and that is the first run of the day. Struck toward extra cover, the fielder with a slight bobble, and that yields in the first run. So that brings on strike Sasha Valabaneni. Am I saying that name properly, by the way?
You're doing a great job, Brian. Now, with all the you've been, watching all these Indian origin players and with their long last names, you've been doing terrific.
Thank you. I try my best. First delivery outside, a little bit too far outside for the liking of umpire Myron James. So the first extra of the day is wide. So Sasha Valabaneni. Next delivery to her. Plays off the back foot. Oh, there we go for a quick single. Oh my goodness, a direct hit there would have been the end of Sasha Valabaneni. And she immediately turns and signals at Ritu Singh saying that was not supposed to have been a run. And I cannot say I blame her because that really was a suicidal run.
Yeah, too early to do all that, right? Just the first over. So take your time, girls, and be careful.
Next delivery played into the offside. A dot ball, really good over. 3 runs coming from that over when there easily could have been a wicket. But at the end of one, the score is 3 without loss. So 3 without loss after 1 over. The bowler coming from the highway end, the southern end of the ground, is now going to be Hiba Shamshad. And she will be bowling to Ritu Singh. Make that my apologies. She'll be bowling to Sasha Valabaneni. So I brought up Sasha's name earlier. Her record so far, 15 matches throughout her T20 career. 15 matches, 171 runs and 3 wickets. And as far as PVCC is concerned, we'll get back to that shortly. This is played off the back foot. Should be at least just one. There's a sweeper on the offside and cuts that off. So the bowler, Hiba Shamshad, is left arm over the wicket, looking to swing that ball into the 2 right-handed batters. That left arm angle over the wicket is a good one, but that first delivery was just a little too far outside off. Now, understanding that I mentioned it at the toss, the Titans are playing with 1 person short. So ordinarily during the power play overs, there could be as much as 2 people outside the circle, but with them playing 1 short, I believe are only allowed 1 outside the circle. So that 1 fielder outside the circle is sweeping in the covers, which tells you that the line has to be absolutely on. Oh, my apologies. So there's 2 outside the circle. So the umpire is not being as harsh on that rule as they could be potentially. So there's a fielder down at long on. Oh, you cannot bowl there. Absolutely cannot bowl there. Pulled away through square leg for the first boundary of the day. Dropping short to Ritu Singh. That generally is a recipe for disaster, the first boundary.
Yeah, so when you mentioned about the Titans playing 1 short, they came here with a full team. Unfortunately, one of their players got sick. We're missing you, Ria Mishra, and we hope that you get well soon and come back to Houston again to play another tournament. I'm sure your teammates are missing you. Yeah, beautiful shot again.
Yeah, they're going to learn very quickly that you cannot bowl any loose deliveries at all to Ritu Singh. She absolutely loves to play. Well, she plays shots all around the ground, but she's especially strong on the pull. And that's the 2nd consecutive boundary. So 2 balls that are just too short and too straight. And once again, that left arm angle over the wicket has to be outside the line of off. Otherwise, you're giving free runs. They absolutely love scoring in that area. Now, in terms of looking at what the overall score is going to be and sort of projecting what that total might be, the ball is not going to race across the ground as quickly as it ordinarily would here at Prairie View. The outfield is just a little thick, and it essentially means that if the ball is hit in the air aerially, oh my goodness, this is a ball hit right back toward the bowler. She drops what was a difficult return catch, but it certainly was a drop, and they run through for a single. See her, Shamshad, flashing the hands as that hit with some power by Ritu Singh and ends up just being a single, but a lot of activity there all of a sudden, Mitali.
Oh yeah, that was a fantastic try by Hiba Shamshad to do a caught and bowl, but unfortunately it was traveling. I can see that she's still wincing with some pain out there. And Brian, I must tell you, I think we were informed a little wrong. I just was informed that Canadian team Titans does have all the 11 players. Rhea Mishra, who was not well, did join the team and now on the field.
Fantastic. So our apologies for getting that wrong, but it's good to know that there is a full team for the Canadians. And so that is the end of the second over. 2 overs up. First over bowled by Hiba Shamshad goes for 9 runs, make that 10 runs. And the score after 2 is 13 without loss. So 2 overs up, 13 runs on the board, and Vandana Mahajan will continue from the forest end of the northern end of the ground, bowling to Ritu Singh. Whole play just defended into the offside for no run. So Ritu Singh 10 from 9 with 2 boundaries, those 2 boundaries coming in that last over. And Sasha Valabaneni 2 from 3. So overall score 13, 1 extra. And at the toss, Ritu Singh, captain, said she was looking for around 140. 140, I think, would be a challenging score under these conditions. What do you think?
I think so. I agree with you. But yesterday, for the semi-finals, they did cross more than 160. Different weather conditions yesterday. But let's see. I think it's 140, 145 myself.
2 good deliveries to start here. Good accurate bowling by Vandana Mahajan, both just on the line of off stump and just short of driving length. And Ritu Singh equal to the task on both, just this one defended back to the bowler herself. Our next delivery. Oh, now Ritu Singh looking to throw the kitchen sink at that one, looking to aim over extra cover. But once again, Vandana Mahajan keeping that line outside of off stump. It's exactly where you want to be as a bowler. So 3 straight dot balls. She started her first over in the exact same fashion with 3 straight dot balls. And so far looking really good with the ball in hand. Next delivery, very full. In fact, a low full toss. This should be single. The throw coming into the keeper's end. But Valabaneni making it pretty easily without much fuss. So, in fact, both the overs bowled by Vandana Mahajan have started out in the exact same fashion. 3 dot balls and then a single. So this single now brings the score to 14 with 2 balls remaining. Here in the third over, the second being bowled by Vandana Mahajan. In fact, the scorecard says that there's 1 ball remaining. I may have missed a ball. Defended into the offside. And in fact, yes, I did miss one because the umpires are now signaling that that's the end of the over. So good over, really good over. Actually, just 1 run coming from it. So 2 overs bowled by Vandana Mahajan have only yielded 4 runs. Good bowling by her. And the score after 3 is 14 without loss. So now into the fourth over, the second being bowled by Hiba Shamshad. Left arm over the wicket, bowling to Ritu Singh. Ritu Singh 11 from 14. High and deep, all the way down and landing one bounce just close to us here at the commentators area. Ritu Singh immediately going big. She has taken a liking to the bowling of Hiba Shamshad, and the first really struck forward down the ground. Really elegant shot, maybe in the air for a very long time, and the wind is sort of coming from the northeast, so that might have helped that ball travel just a little bit, but still hit very straight and was always going to be four. So good start to the over, and Hiba Shamshad is going to have to make the adjustment. Full and played into the offside. That's a good stop. Good piece of fielding. Excellent. Okay, so that's good work in the covers. Very good stop to her left, diving away and making sure that that ball did not get through. And at least a couple of runs there would have been saved. That is Vandana Mahajan herself in the covers, who would have prevented that one from going for at least a couple. But that's a good start by her. Outside awful. Ritu Singh again really looking to swing for the fences. She's now up to 15 from 16. Make that 15 from 17. Looking really dangerous so far.
That's the way she plays a game. Fearless Ritu at her finals of 2023 Women's Houston in the Prairie View Cricket Complex. No tournament is possible if you don't have good grounds, good umpires, and I must say, good scorers. And definitely, we've been missing the awesome commentary of our dear Brian Walters, who drove all the way from Austin to support the women and help us with the commentary in the finals. Thank you so much, Brian, again. Any tournament is not possible if you don't get the support from everyone. So again, thanks to all the 6 teams for their efforts over the 3 days and making this event so successful. Thanks again to God Almighty for giving us full games. Very important. Every game has been 20 overs. Thanks to Mangesh Chaudhary from Cricket Prairie View and his groundsmen and all his crew for giving us excellent grounds.
You forgot to thank one additional person, because none of this happens without proper professional organizational skills. And so you may go ahead and thank, in addition to everybody else who you just thanked, Mitali, because this is a tremendous undertaking. Teams traveling from as far away as Canada, and it takes a really good amount of organization to get this tournament underway. That's a good sliding stop in the outfield, just limiting the damage to 1 run. That's a great sliding stop by that fielder who is sweeping out there on the offside.
That is Shrishti Raha.
Shrishti Raha. Beautiful piece of fielding. I was waiting for her to turn around and I couldn't see her jersey number.
She's the manager of the team also.
Fantastic. So that is the end of the over, am I right? At the end of 4. The score is 19 without loss. So 4 overs bowled and 19 runs on the board. The ACZ Women's Fire is scoring at a rate of 4.75 and over. That's slightly deceptive because the 2 overs bowled by Vandana Mahajan have only yielded 4 runs. 2 overs bowled by Hiba Shamshad have yielded 15 runs. So a new bowler is now into the attack, and it is Rhea Mishra. So thankfully, we initially had been under the impression that she was not going to be able to play today, but thankfully she is able to play. And she now takes the ball from the forest end, coming into bowl to Ritu Singh. Right arm over the wicket. Ritu Singh once again looking to go big. And generally, if that line is outside the line of off stump, that's where you can keep Ritu Singh quiet. She can score heavily all around the ground, but she is particularly harsh on anything too straight. So your options, if you're going to look to keep her quiet or at least keep her from scoring heavily, would be to keep the ball on that off stump line or outside the line of off stump. So that's a good start by Rhea Mishra. She's going to need to be able to keep that exact line though. And this is defended into the onside. Oh no! Potential run out. Oh, they were late taking off at that time and a bit of confusion, but running in from the mid-wicket area was Manat Hundal, and she was not able to get there on time and ended up just conceding that single.
Once again, welcome to all our listeners who have just joined us. We are in the 5th over of the game, and Rhea Mishra is bowling to Ritu Singh, or is it Sasha? Ritu Singh, right? Oh, that was Sasha.
Tell you what, that was a brilliant shot, short and outside off stump. The line was okay, but the length was too short. And opening up those shoulders and cutting that fiercely through backward point. There's a fielder diving at backward point, but not able to get to it. And the ball running away to that backward point area for 4. I mentioned that the outfield is just a little thick, but that did not matter because that ball was struck with some power by Sasha Valabaneni. And that is her first boundary. She now moves on to 6 from 5. And the score now up to 24 without loss. Scoring rate now ticking up to 5.33 runs and over. 4 fours struck by both of these batters. Full, and this is what played. Backward point area though. Good protection right there, so there is no run. So, according to what I see here on the YouTube feed, there are 28 of you who are watching. So welcome once again to the Prairie View Cricket Complex. If you don't mind, the chat function is open. So if you felt like jumping in and making a comment or two, letting us know where you're from and where you're watching and who you're supporting, any of that information is good to know because we like knowing what the reach is. This is another good cut shot, but this time stopped. And again, this is a potential run-out opportunity. I tell you what, had that been a straighter throw, that may have been almost fatal for Ritu Singh because she was a little late coming down the wicket. And just looking at the replay again from our angle, that looked like she took off just a little late. And that throw, had that throw been accurate, she very well could have been run out. But after all of that, it's just another single. So 1 ball remaining here in the 5th. This is a good over so far by Rhea Mishra, and in fact she chooses to go around the wicket. Interesting decision to go around the wicket to Ritu Singh, probably looking to slant that ball across her, and it's a good ball defended back to the bowler herself, who feels that is a dot ball to end things here in the 5th. 1 ball remaining in the power play. We'll make that 1 over rather remaining in the power play. After 5, the score is 25 without loss. Once again, this is the Houston Open Women's 2023 tournament. The finals being played between the ACC Women's Fire and the Titans from Canada. This is the finals. ACC Women's Fire having been inserted to bat by the Titans. After 5 overs, scoring exactly at the rate of 5 overs up, scoring exactly at the rate of 5 runs and over. The score is 25 without loss. And the new bowler now coming from the highway end is Krima Kapadia. And she is going to be bowling to Sasha Valabaneni. Sasha is on 7 from 7 with 1 boundary. Ritu Singh 17 from 23 with 3 boundaries. So just a little bit of a delay while Krima Kapadia makes sure that the field is set exactly the way that she wants it to be. So this is the last over in the power play. There's a deep backward square leg and a sweeper on the cover boundary. Ball is played off the back foot, quick run, and it goes through. Pretty straightforward run in the end. The fielder is on the circle in the covers, and that allowed enough room for the runners to go through for that single. So just in looking at the way that this has developed so far, this ball is hit to mid-off, no run. Struck pretty firmly by Ritu Singh, but not able to get any runs from that delivery.
Who's the number?
Amanjit Burke.
One more dot ball. That's the 6th over going on before the power play is going to finish. Krima Kapadia doing a great job here. 2 dot balls. Good fielding by the Titans, keeping them down to 26. Ooh.
Thick outside edge. I'll tell you what, they say that cricket is a game that rewards aggression. Sasha Valabaneni going at that one, make that Ritu Singh going at that one very hard. Thick outside edge, and it really could have been taken by the keeper, but it burst through the hands or through the gloves, and they run through for a single to boot. So Ritu Singh might consider herself lucky there, because genuine outside edge, very, very thick, but with the aggression with which you went after that ball, it made it possible for it to not stick. And this is a good delivery, wrapped on the pad, going down the leg side though, so not much of an appeal there. So good over so far with 1 ball to come. 2 runs coming from that over, and very easily could have had a wicket. Krima Kapadia, good start. Tall, right arm fast bowler. And this is going to be the last ball of the power play. Down the leg side, off of the pad, I believe. So not a drop, half-hearted appeal, but that is a good over. 2 runs coming from that over. That's the end of the power play. After 6, the score is 27 without loss.
As Brian said, the power play is up. 6 overs done, and after 6 overs, the score is 27 for no loss. That could have been a big wicket there, right? And Titans missed on that. One more time, you guys are listening here and watching us at the finals. At the finals of the 2023 Houston Women's Open T20 tournament, being held at the wonderful grounds of the Prairie View Cricket Complex in Texas, Houston, Texas. And we've been very, very happy to see all the 6 teams coming from different parts of the country. And as we said, we even have the Canadians out here who don't really get such good weather and such good grounds in Canada. So it was very nice for them to come over, and good experience for the girls in the USA too, to play against them. We had a very, very tight semi-final yesterday in the Group A against the Hurricanes, and similarly, there was another semi-finals between the MCA women and the ACZ Fires. And here are the ACZ Fires against the Titans playing the final. We're in the 7th over now.
7th over, and it's being bowled by Rhea Mishra, her 2nd over. Next delivery is smashed into the offside. Now there is protection in the deep, so just a single. First over that was bowled by Rhea Mishra went for 6 runs. Starting out this over now with first ball was a dot ball, and the second goes for that single that we just saw. So overall, the scoring rate is 4.42. 4.42 runs and over from here gets you to 83 runs. Make that 88 runs. So I think they'll be looking for much more than that. Generally good bowling. One wide that I can recall so far in the innings. So from that standpoint, the bowlers have generally bowled the right lengths, make that the right lines. And a couple of errors here and there in length, and they've been punished for 4s. But for the most part, being able to keep a good batting side like the ACZ Women's Fire to scoring just 4.42 runs and over, I think is a credit to the bowlers. So far, 4 bowlers used. Bandana Mahajan has bowled 2, Hiba Shamshad 2, Rhea Mishra into her 2nd, and 1 over bowled so far by Krima Kapadia. But overall, I think just a good bowling effort. And you hear the Titans in the outfield being very demonstrative and being very sort of firing up their bowlers, which is what you like to see. And of course, outside of the power play overs with the more defensive field, there's some work to be done here by the ACZ Women's Fire to get going. This is cut away through backward point. There should be 2. No, they only take 1. Good strong throw coming back in from that sweeper in the covers. You would think because the sweeper had to run some 10 or so yards to her left that they might have been able to take a second run there, but they chose not to take that chance. Now you see Rhea Mishra again bowling around the wicket to Ritu Singh. You see her do that. Oh, you saw her do that to end the last ball of her first over. Same angle again, Ritu Singh in the air, over extra cover, running close toward the boundary, and is pulled back just before it gets all the way to the boundary. So they run for 2. Once again, Ritu Singh, generally, if you bowl it too straight, she punishes you. This time the line was outside of off stump and going with that lofted extra cover drive. No risk in the shot because extra cover is inside the circle and long off is about halfway between the circle and the boundary, but not able to get all the way over. So here is the next one. Ritu Singh again driving in that same area. This is struck with power. This will get to the boundary. That is a good looking shot by Ritu. Very well hit. And again, finding that gap between cover and extra cover inside the circle. And the ball having the legs to race across the ropes. So another boundary for Ritu Singh. She now moves up to 25 from 30. And just 1 ball remaining here in the 7th over. That scoring rate now up to 5.12. And again, just thinking in terms of projections. Oh, we'll get back to the projection after this ball. Good delivery. Just defended into the offside for no run. That's the end of the over. So at the end of 7, the score is 5 without loss. Make that 35 without loss. The scoring rate is exactly 5. So at this exact scoring rate, we can do that math that will get them to 100. I think 100 would be much too short. What do you think?
Yeah, 100 would be very below par, and for this experienced Canadian team, they have a lot of good batters. They know how to play the game. That's what I've been watching them. They don't get stressed out. They plan their strategies well. Even if there is a slow rate at the start, they make it up. So 100 definitely is going to be a below par score. So I think the ACZ Fires need to really fire now.
Did you say the ACZ Fires need to fire? Wow. So this is Krima Kapadia coming back into the attack for her second over. Just getting the steps wrong and looking to make... Oh, we're joined by Prairie View royalty. Please. They're full and defended into the offside for no run. So I mentioned that we're joined by Prairie View royalty. Pleased to welcome, likely for her first time on the mic at a cricket match, Miss. Good morning, Tamara. Please say hello and say first of all, what you're doing here, then what the relationship is between the sport of and the city of Prairie View.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, first of all, and thank you for having me, Brian. Here we are. My name is Tamara Poole. I'm the media director for the city of Prairie View, and I'm joining you guys today in the illustrious city at the cricket game. Yes, this is my now third official cricket game. Very new to me, but I'm enjoying every bit of it. It just adds to the multi-dimension of culture that we have here in the city. So on behalf of the city, I'm just excited to be here.
So just an update as to where we are in the game. The score is 35 without loss. We're two deliveries into the 8th over. This is Krima Kapadia, who is into her second over. 2 deliveries bowled so far. This next delivery going down the leg side. Half-hearted appeal. No appeal from the bowler. And I don't think any chance of that being given out LBW. So the sport of cricket, relatively new to the city of Prairie View. Tell me about your impression of what the economic impact might be from the sport for the city.
The economic impact. Well, first, with this being mostly a college town and with the intramurals being a pretty growing element here, I do think this would add to the value as far as what students can attract to and what could become for the future of accessible sports in Prairie View. Having a field here that's open and available, almost like Top Golf at some point, but more importantly, just to enrich what is here as far as the green, the natural element. And we're known to be kind of in the middle of nowhere, but we're kind of a special gem, just outside of something that is everything and everywhere. So it's really nice to have that perspective in a retreat.
Hammered away over extra cover. That's Ritu Singh doing Ritu Singh things. That is absolutely blasted over extra cover for another boundary. That is 5 fours now for Ritu Singh. She moves up to 30 from 32. Make that 29 from 32. And the score now up to 40. Once again, we talked about the projected score. Exactly where we are now is the run rate of 5.22. 5.22 runs and over, that gets us to 104. As Mitali Chowdhury was saying earlier, 104 will be probably 30 or 40 runs short of what they're looking for. But Ritu Singh is looking to change that conversation. And this is helped behind square. That might run away for 4. And that is, it's just pulled back. And that is Hiba Shamshad. Again, that's good work by her to save 2 runs for her side. But Ritu Singh looking to accelerate. That is another double to finish the over. That is 7 runs coming from that over. And at the end of 8, the score is 42 without loss. So back to you, Miss Poole. You mentioned, first of all, you said Top Golf. Did I hear that properly? So, to the best of my knowledge, sometimes people who are not familiar with cricket think that they can just come walk up, bring the golf clubs, and knock golf balls off of the center pitch, which in cricket is an absolute no-no. You don't ever want to do that. But just from the standpoint of being able to attract new viewers and new fans to a sport, what potential is there for that to develop here in Prairie View?
I think quite a lot of potential. You are in an educational community, so with this being something that does require a bit of insight and study, it is something that probably would pique the interest of those that do require a little more, more of a thinking man's sport.
So new bowler into the attack, leg spinner. That is Manat Hundal, right arm leg spinner. That first delivery going down the leg side, and they run through for a single. I believe that might have been a leg by, because I think that came off of the pad. Okay, confirmation by Mithali Chowdhury. Thank you, Mithali. So Mithali Chowdhury is tournament organizer, team manager, and now scorer and commentator. We didn't forget that part. So the true all-rounder in the tournament. Thank you, Mithali. So the first ball is a leg by, and this next one comes off a thick inside edge. They should get at least two. Will not get to the boundary, but that's an easy double. It is fielded down there by Daniel McGahey. And so another 2 runs to the total. So overall, a relatively sedate start. You're expecting that if Ritu Singh is opening the batting, that scoring will be explosive. And she herself is scoring at a rate of just under 100, a strike rate, I mean. And this is lofted in the air. McGahey with a simple catch, and that is the end of Ritu Singh. That is a great, great catch. Well judged. She absolutely looked that one straight in, concentrating very easily. And that ball got to her just short, right about waist height, and she made absolutely no mistake. So that is a big wicket. Ritu Singh is the type of batter who can take the game away from the opposition. And she ends up holding out the deep backward square leg. So not the best of deliveries, has to be said, but the field was set perfectly for that type of delivery. So the first wicket goes down. Ritu Singh, 33 from 35. New batter coming in, I believe, is going to be Melanie Henry. So one aggressive batter replaces another. First blood to the Titans. That is a big wicket. The captain goes for 33. So given, Miss Poole, that this is the, did you say the third cricket match that you've ever seen?
How are you? Good to see you.
What is your impression of the sport? Just taking it away from your role at the city and just as a new debutant to the sport, what's your impression of it so far?
I'm really enjoying mostly learning every element, just each player's role. For the most part, it just resembles so much as far as different sports. So I think what attracts me most is that, you get a chance to kind of step back and enjoy not only the game, but every part around it, every element around it, especially out here.
So the new batter, most of the players who are in this tournament are either directly from or have family relationships with, meaning their heritage, South Asia. One of the handful of players who is not from South Asia is now batting. Melanie Henry is from the country of Guyana, officially part of the West Indies, English speaking on the South American mainland. Some of the best players in the world are from that country. We can go through some names in a minute. Melanie Henry, one of the bigger hitters of a cricket ball. Hits the ball very, very hard. And she is a tremendous, tremendous player. So I have it on good authority that you've been paying attention to the sport. So I'm going to put you on the spot in front of everybody who's listening. Tell me one player in the history of cricket who you know who is from the country of Guyana.
That would be Joel Garner. I'm messing myself.
Okay, I'll get back to that in a second. Next delivery, sort of tossed up and played into the offside. Just a single. So, one ball remaining here in the 9th. And the name that you were looking for was Colin Croft.
I'm looking at Colin Croft in my mind. I knew it was Colin Croft. I did. I knew it was Colin Croft. I can hear his voice. I'm very upset with myself at this moment.
I may give you another quiz in the next several overs. Very tossed up, full toss, and it is hit into the deep to mid wicket for a single. So 3 consecutive singles after the fall of Ritu Singh. So very successful over. 6 runs coming from that over. At the end of 9, the score is 48 for 1. So 9 overs up, the score is 48 for 1. The scoring rate is 5.33. By the way, so stopping back for a second, Mitali, 5.33 projects right now to 107. So we're still well short of what we're looking for.
Totally agree with you, Brian. The Canadians have really done a great job getting these ACZ fires on their back foot, I would say. And ACZ fires had started to fire, and then they they kind of lost the way in a bit. But Mel's at the crease, so Mel's definitely going to start playing her shots in a bit and then catch up. But yes, 105 is definitely a below par score at this time.
So Mitali, you've seen Mel throughout. Well, I'm sure you've seen her, just not in this tournament, but throughout. So sort of give everybody who's listening your impression of what she can do with the bat.
Melanie Henry, right? That name. That forceful, aggressive name, Melanie Henry. And I've talked to her many a times, and I've seen her many a times play. I mean, she can whack that ball out of the park, and she can play her 4s and 6s same time. She can run between the wickets too. So, and what a good bowler she is too. So she is an absolute all-rounder, good fielder, and so ACZ definitely has terrific player in Mel out there, and I'm pretty sure our viewers are watching the YouTube, and all the ACZ supporters out there cheering for Mel to do her thing and get the score rocking, right? Not ticking, but rocking.
In the meantime, this is four delivers into what is a brilliant over so far. The first one being bowled by Amarpal Kaur. 4 dot balls to start her spell. And make that 5 dot balls. And we're about to see a maiden in the 10th over of the final. So this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant bowling. One ball remaining, and obviously Melanie Henry, as we mentioned, is on strike, can hit the ball extremely far. You see the fielders in the deep. There's Captain Achina Pereira down here in front of us at long on. And looking for a single, and the throw is slightly offline, so that is a single to end things here. That spoils a maiden. We would have almost had a maiden in the 10th over, but just one run coming from the over. Brilliant bowling that time by Amar Palkar. That is the end of 10, and the score is 49 for 1. So 49 for 1. 10 overs are up in the first innings of the final being played between the Titans and the ACC Women's Fire. I am now joined by someone who I think it's fair to say lost a heartbreaker in yesterday's semifinal, young Tia Chowdhury, the daughter of Mitali Chowdhury. Tia, good morning.
Good morning.
So, tell everyone who's listening what the result was in the match yesterday. What was your contribution to your team's efforts, and how do you feel watching this match as opposed to playing in it?
It was a very interesting match. We had really good bowlings, and batting, it came down to the wire where there was 11 runs needed in 1 over. There could have been a 4 in one of the balls, but fielder said no, so we lost by 3 runs.
Lost by 3 runs. Let me ask you this. Do you prefer in a semifinal to lose by 3 or to lose by 50? Which one hurts more?
Hurts more is 3 because there was no...
In the meantime, 3 deliveries into the 11th over. The score is now 51 for 1. 51 for 1, and they're going to need, I think, a lot more than what the score currently shows. They're only scoring now at the rate of 4.86. The overall run rate is going down, and as of right now, this projects to 97. Do you think, Tia, that 97 runs is a competitive total for the final?
Definitely not. They need to have more runs.
So, given that you've played against both these teams this weekend, yes? Who do you think from the ACZ Women's Fire would be able to put forth a type of innings that would create a more competitive total?
Definitely Mel. If she gets settled there, then she can go for some big shots.
That is a brilliant delivery. A leg spinner that spins past the outside edge. Had Sasha Valabaneni reaching for that one. And all of a sudden, with 2 balls remaining here in the 11th, only 52 runs on the board. In the air, and just wide of that fielder in the backward point area, and a good sliding stop by that fielder sweeping on the offside. That is Shristi, and they run through for 2 more. So that is good work in the deep to prevent a boundary. So still only 5 runs scored from the over so far with 1 ball remaining. We're in the final, so every run carries a little bit more weight, but I think they're going to need a lot more than what they have now. This is struck to mid-off. They run through for a single. Oh, I tell you what, that was a lot closer than it should have been. But once again, 6 runs from the over. That is the end of the 11th. The score is 55 for 1, and they're going to need, as I said a number of times already, many more runs than what they have now. So 55 for 1 after 11. We'll be right back. Oh, knocked her over. First delivery by Amar Palkar. Gets right through Sasha Valabaneni and takes out the top of leg. So that is the second wicket. Both openers have been dismissed now. 2 wickets are down, and it feels like the ACZ Women's Fire are slipping further and further into the muck. 2 wickets down, the score is only 55. So all of a sudden, a lot is going to be on the shoulders of Melanie Henry. We'll see who the new batter coming in. We'll get the name of the new batter shortly, but that is a big wicket. And all of a sudden, it feels like the ACZ Women's Fire, once again at the toss, they mentioned that they were looking for 140. Right now, in order to get to 140, they need to score at about the rate of 9 runs and over. That is a long way from where we are now. Now, the new batter is Mitali Pradhan. And Mitali is going to have a pretty steep hill to climb here, because all of a sudden, we keep talking about the overall scoring rate. That scoring rate is now 4.93 after the first delivery of the 12th. And a good spell so far by Amarpal Kaur to 1.1 overs, 1 run conceded, and that 1 wicket that you just saw. Now the first delivery is played into the covers. Now Canada going on the attack. The fielders inside the circle are getting a lot more aggressive, being a lot closer. Look where that fielder is at short cover. That is Vandana Mahajan, who's standing maybe 10 yards away from the bat. Good delivery again, just bang on target. And all of a sudden, the momentum, all of the momentum, Mitali, I'm asking you to commentate about your namesake, but all of the momentum is with the Titans.
Yes, Brian, I agree with every word you said out there. I can see the Canadian Titans skipper Pereira all excited and all cheery. I can see the momentum moving towards them. And we have the new batter at the crease, Mitali Patwardhan, coming from the state of North Carolina. Mitali is also part of the USA cricket, part of the USA team. She's a wicket keeper, batter, very good budding star for the USA's future. So, and with all the experience from Mel, I think Mel and Mitali need to take this to the end, right?
Well, a lot is going to depend on these two. Mel, I think you can easily say the biggest hitter in the side. And she's going to have to play sort of a dual role. She has to bat all the way through, but at some point she needs to start hitting big. And she pulls this massively. That goes through the hands of that field at square leg. It goes for 4, but very easily could have been a catch. It bursts right through the hands. That was struck again with power. Mel Henry is a batter who hits the ball extremely, extremely hard. and pulling this one away massively. And once it got through those hands of the fielder at short square leg, it was always going to have the legs to get to the boundary for 4. So that is another successful over, despite the way that it ended. 5 runs from that over and a wicket. So 60 for 2 is now the score of the ACC Women's Fire, with another 8 overs to go, another 48 balls. And in 48 balls, they're going to have a lot of work to do to make up for where we are right now. In the meantime, we're joined by yet another person in the commentary area.
Hey Brian, I'm going to introduce you to Swati Singh from all the way from Seattle. So we had this new team, this tournament, Seattle Cyclones, and right now they don't have a game today, but I'm very happy to see that the Seattle Cyclones team is at the ground watching this final and enjoying this beautiful Prairie View Cricket Complex. Welcome, Swati. Tell us something about yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much. As she mentioned, I'm Swati Singh. We are part of Cyclone teams. Seattle, first time coming out. I think personally I've been playing cricket 15-16 years. I've never had this sort of opportunity like this. These grounds are like international level. The pitches are like international level, and especially with our team, which is very young. Like half our team is like under 13 or 14. So they, like, for them, I think it's a golden opportunity. They are getting a chance to play with US team players. So I just love it. I'm living my dream. Thank you so much.
So Swati, right?
Yeah.
Swati, first of all, you said that most of your team members are around 13, 14 years old. So most of them are younger than the length of time that you've been playing cricket. So tell us about cricket in Seattle. What sort of structure that you have there for women's cricket, and how is it that you've been able to assemble the team that you have to come down here?
Sure. As you guys know, like Seattle weather doesn't allow us to play throughout the year. It's so much rain, like 9 months we have rain. But apart from that, last 3-4 years, there is like a big influx of like academies coming over there. I think it's because of the a lot of Asians in software, and their kids are coming up, and they are especially the parents are very passionate about like that their kid should learn cricket. So that part of the academies, so many academies are coming up, and so they all practice indoors. So we try to take advantage of that because weather doesn't agree with cricket. But yeah, so there's a lot of structure, especially for women's cricket nowadays. I see so many, in a couple of years, so many girls are coming up through the lines. Yeah. And we have Giovanna Ares, who's an under-19 player. She's a big inspiration for all the girls. Yeah.
So a dot ball to end things here in the 13th over. After 13, the score is 62 for 2. So Swati, you mentioned Giovanna Ares. She's currently playing in
Fairbrake.
Did I see that she took 4 wickets in a match a couple of days ago?
Yeah, I'm following very closely. If I'm not playing, I love to follow cricket. That's why we are here. We don't have a game today, but that's that. You should need to have the passion for the game and love the game. So I do follow Giovanna. She's so humble and she's working so hard. I have all the best wishes for her, and she's trying to grab all the opportunities she's getting. Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Fairbreak, Brian. So the Fairbreak finals happened last night, and that was Warriors against the Falcons. And I was supporting the Warriors, of course. We had Sindhu Sriharsa, our very own USA captaining the Warriors at the Fairbreak, who won the championship. So congratulations to Warriors. At the same time, even congratulations to the Falcons for going to the finals. I'm a big fan of Jahanara Alam from Bangladesh, and she was part of the Falcons team. So cheers to all of them. Cheers to Julia Price for coaching the Warriors, and Julie Abbott being the manager of Warriors. Back to you, Brian, and thank you so much, Swati Singh, for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks again for the great tournament.
Thank you, Swati. And so now we have a rotation of guests here at the mic. Pleased to be joined by a player who is one of the better known players on the U19 circuit here in the U.S., Miss Pooja Ganesh. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So you're not playing in the final today. You're also on the side of the Houston Hurricanes that lost yesterday. Am I right?
Yes.
Tell me about your experience for the entire tournament and what do you feel about the entire setup?
It was really fun. We got to play a bunch of different players. And yeah, I really enjoyed playing on these grounds and facing this good competition. Yeah. And it was just a really good opportunity to like play cricket when it's considered off season.
So I'm going to ask you to play cricket analyst for just a second. Your game yesterday, you lost by 3 runs. Tell me 2 or 3 things that did not go the way that they should have gone that made you lose.
I feel like in our fielding we may have dropped a few catches which could have changed the game. And in our batting we had including me, our top order should have clicked better, and it was an easy total. We could have got it any day, but it just didn't click. So, yeah.
Oh, suicidal. And no, not run out. I'll tell you what, a better throw would have had Mitali Patwardhan run out by half the length of the pitch. She took off running for what really was a non-existent run. The throw came back in, but it was a wayward throw. For all money, she would have been gone had that throw been a little bit more accurate. And just looking at the replay here, directly to cover all the way down the wicket, and she would have been run out by 5 yards had that throw been a little bit more accurate. So unfortunately for the Titans, but fortunately for the ACZ Women's Fire, this pair is still at the wicket. Mitali Patwardhan and Melanie Henry. So 1 ball remaining here in the 14th. The 14th. Score still only 63 for 2. My goodness, this is not exactly going to plan. And coming back to you, Pooja. In fact, I'll do that after the end of the over. So this is knocked down to captain herself, Achina Pereira at long on. That is the end of the 14th over. After 14, the score is 64 for 2. So Pooja, what are the conditions like in St. Louis? I think I heard you just say that this is outside of the season for you. So you haven't started playing there yet?
We have started playing adult leagues and stuff, but it's still kind of cold there. And so this is kind of the start of the season for me, at least. Yeah. But I've been playing some games, but this is pretty much the start of women's for this year.
So you mentioned that you've been playing some games. Are you playing women's games? Do you ever play with the guys? What kind of games are you playing right now?
Pretty much with the St. Louis guys, pretty much. Or no. Oh.
Youth?
Adult. Oh, adult games because our youth league hasn't started yet. But this is the first women tournament of the year, I think.
So Pooja, tell us that even St. Louis, does it not have the hub system of the USA, and you are part of the U15 hub games with the youth?
I don't know.
The junior, the USA junior pathway, where all the youth are playing, and now we are like trying to create. The USA Cricket is creating the domestic structure for the country, and every city. Not every city, I mean pretty much the big cities where there's a lot of cricket, every city has hub games, which is pretty much selections for domestic structure for the under 15, under 13 and under 11. So we know that it happens in Houston and Dallas, and then they go to the next level to play zonals and regionals. So I'm assuming that there is a region for St. Louis too, but maybe PG is not a PG is Pooja Ganesh. I call her PG, and she's not started that as yet. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you. So, just resetting where we are with this match. The score is now 67 for 2. We're 2 deliveries into the 15th over. And I have to say that time is starting to run out on the ACZ Women's Fire. And I would expect that Melanie Henry is going to start hitting sometime soon. Now, from the end at which she's batting at the southern end, and the wind is blowing from the north. So I don't expect her to hit from this end, but I think when she comes on to bat, or if she's batting when the bowling is coming from the south, I think she's going to be looking to go big. And this is a single to mid-off. 2 balls remaining now here in the 15th. Joined once again by a lady who failed her test miserably. Played into the offside for no run. So, from what I understand, Ms. Poole, again, Tamara Poole is with the City of Prairie View. As a person who has, number one, the media function of Prairie View under your purview, and in addition, somebody who is interested. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you. In addition, you have an eye on generally what benefits the City of Prairie View. So I understand, based on what you've said, that you've sort of become a bookworm as far as the sport of cricket is concerned recently. So give me your sense of sort of what your impressions are of the sport itself. Many people don't know that it's the second most popular sport in the world, even though realistically much of that, it's a bit of a misleading stat, because the vast majority of the fans who follow cricket are in South Asia. But even then, every English-speaking country other than the US and Canada has cricket as a major piece of its sporting landscape. So for somebody who did not really follow cricket a month ago to somebody who is now able to understand the impact that it can have, give me sort of your thoughts as far as that's concerned.
Well, I appreciate the historical element about cricket. There's a lot to learn as you uncover not just the structure of the game and the relative sports that kind of resemble it in play, but just how rich the history and the evolution of cricket is from different nations worldwide. It's something that's been long and ongoing, but USA is kind of on the back end of really developing it here, where it's a sport to be appreciated. So I think part of our start is understanding the cultural development, as well as just the benefit of knowing that it exists, and it can flourish in towns like Prairie View, where it's culture rich and land rich. It's a beautiful place to set retreat and really, like I said before, gain perspective. And this is one sport that requires that. It requires more of a contemplative means of developing your skill and your craft. So you have time and space to do that here if that's your center of focus. And that's what I appreciate the most about the game.
Oh my goodness. So one of the oldest rules in cricket is never run on a misfield. That ball went right through the fielder who's fielding at mid-off. They turned around, hurrying to get back for that second run. Melanie Henry slipped and ended up just making it back to safety at the non-strikers end. But the end result is that they get two very valuable runs. This is going to be Hiba Shamshad, who's back into the attack. Left arm over, and this is pulled toward deep mid-wicket. That fielder easily covers. That is just a single. That is Danielle McGahey, who is sweet on the boundary at mid-wicket. So 2 deliveries, 3 runs. Again, we're in the 16th over, so just another 28 balls remaining. And in 28 balls, they need to score at the rate of 12 and over just to get to 128. So I think 140 is well and truly out of reach, at least for the moment. But as I mentioned, when Melanie Henry is batting from this end, I expect her to go big because the wind will help with this ball flying in this direction. And there she goes in the air, and it's going to go for 4. So I really do expect her to be more aggressive from this end because, to be fair, that ball was short enough that she could play square. So it didn't matter that she didn't get it up into the air for the wind to help. Either way, it goes away for 4. They need a lot more from Melanie Henry. And she is now up to 18 from 20 deliveries. Melanie Henry, I think the key to having a competitive score on the board from here. And you can see that the captain herself, Achina Pereira, has put herself into the hot spot right in front of us at long on. Is also long off, a few yards off the boundary. Straight down the ground. This is going to be 4 more. Hammered. Melanie Henry, I think, recognizes that a lot depends on her. And once again, batting from the end where she's batting from, I expect that she's going to be more aggressive from that end. 10 runs, make that 11 runs from the over so far with 2 balls to come. And so there is going to be, I think, a few changes in the field. I think the bowler herself, Hiba Shamshad, is asking for long off and long on to be a little bit straighter, and that's exactly what they've just done. But Melanie Henry, I don't think is going to care. If it is in her arc, she's going to go for it. And as of right now, this helps the batting side in 2 different ways, meaning the wind. Number 1, if the ball is hit in the air, it will help to carry it. Number 2, when the ball is running in, she's running it into the wind, which is also a very difficult thing to have happen. That's pulled to deep mid-wicket for a single. So 1 ball remaining here in what has been the most productive over in a very long time. In fact, this is the biggest over of the match so far. 12 runs coming from the over so far with 1 ball remaining. And Melanie Henry is now up to 23 from 22 balls faced. The last ball to be faced now from by Mitali Padwardan, who is on 8 from 16. Hiba Shamshad into her 3rd over. So after this, she just has 1 more over remaining. Very full and hit toward mid-wicket inside the circle. They'll scramble through for a single. That ends a very, very productive over. This is easily the biggest over of the match so far, as I mentioned. So after 16, the score is 82 for 2. Back here at Prairie View, we're into the 17th over. And the 17th over has been bowled by the captain herself, Achina Pereira, bowling to Mitali Patwardhan. First ball is a dot ball, knocked to mid-wicket, short and pulled down into the deep. They should get two easily, and here they come. Easy two. The fielder coming off of the boundary. Had to come some 10 or so yards to her right. That is Amarpal Kaur herself. And just getting that ball in, saving a boundary but conceding 2 runs. So the last over was a very big one. Most of that off of the bat of Melanie Henry. Hammered in the air in the same direction, and this time, oh, what a diving stop, and not able to get it from going over the boundary. That is a great effort by Amarpal Kaur, coming to her right and actually getting a hand to it with a good dive, but not able to keep it from trickling over the ropes. So once again, another boundary. You heard Mitali Chowdhury say about her namesake, Mitali Patwardhan, that she is a very high-level player, played for the U.S. Tell us a little bit more about her and how much of a good partner does she make for Melanie Henry?
I mean, I think she's doing an excellent job right now, coming in the situation which she came in. Mitali, that was a beautiful shot. That was a beautiful 4 out there. But definitely, I would say the fielder did an excellent job trying to save it too. Mitali, as we say, she's in the coming from the state of North Carolina. I've seen her play for the TCL Tornadoes. They have in the Triangle Cricket League out there. They have a lot of cricket going on there. And then she, whenever the USA has tournaments, I've seen her play for that. Good wicket keeper and a very good batter. Has a bright future.
Fantastic. Short in the air, knocked down to long on. That's Melanie Henry. Another single. So just 1 ball remaining now in the 17th over. So just another 19 balls remaining in the innings. The score is now 90. And I will tell you, 90 does not feel, in fact, it's 89. My apologies, 89. So does not. Okay, so the scoreboard may be inaccurate. Okay, that's knocked 2 square leg. They're shouting for 2. I don't think 2 is there. No, there's going to be the throw back to the non-striker's end. Good piece of fielding, actually, backing up by the captain to prevent that ball from going away. But they still get a single. And so at the end of 18, make that the end of 17, the score is 91 for 2. Last 3 overs. Amarpal Kaur continuing. This is going to be her last over. Her 3 overs so far have been very productive. And this is knocked in the air, in the deep. That is a good stop down there. Pretty straightforward stop, actually, by Daniel McGahey. So single to start things here in the 18th. So just another 17 balls remaining. 17 balls remaining, and think that this is the 18th over, and then the 20th over. The majority of the runs need to come, number 1, from the bat of Melanie Henry, and number 2 from this end from which she's batting right now. So I think those are the 2 variables that are going to impact what sort of score we're looking at here. And this is now knocked into the gap. Do they go for two? No, they don't. Just jogging for that first one, and that's all they'll get. So single down the ground. So two delivers here in the 18th and two singles. Overall score 93 for two. The scoring rate 5.37. 5.37 projects to 107. 10 and over from here gets you to 120, and you're going to look for a whole lot more than 120, or at least you would have been looking for a lot more than 120 at the start of this innings. Now from here I think they would accept 120 because scoring really has dried up for the most part in the last several overs. This is swept around the corner. McGahee coming off the boundary, and she is a really good fielder. Look at that strong throw coming back into the non-striker's end. So 3 consecutive overs, I'll make that 3 consecutive singles. And a really good spell underway. This is the last over being bowled by Amarpal Kaur. She's only conceded 11 runs from her 3.3 overs. Tossed up. Melanie Henry goes big, and this is going to be the first 6 of the innings. All the way for 6. A low full toss. Once again, you cannot make that type of mistake to Melanie Henry not batting from this end. And she easily puts that over the top of wide long on for the first 6 of the match. And that 6 actually brings up the 100. So they are now past that psychological barrier of 100 runs being on the board, and they'll be looking for a lot more from this end. 2 balls remaining here in the 18th. And Melanie Henry defending their run through for a single, underhanded throw, and that is going to be no decision made. Yep, there's a decision by umpire Myron James. It is a run out. It really was sort of a suicidal single. Just pushed down the wicket, and I don't think that it was hit far enough for them to chance a run, but they immediately took off running, and all that Amarpal Kaur had to do was get the ball and underhand it back to the keeper's end. And that resulted in a run out. So that is the 3rd wicket that goes down. 3rd wicket goes down at the score of 100. So just 1 ball remaining here in the 18th over. And the score is 100 for 3. So now the new batter is going to be Shahasra Gorla.
Hold on. So which the fifth ball she got out, right? Huh? The over is still on, right? So Mithali got out.
So Mithali is run out.
Umpire, 1 second.
So 1 ball remaining here. Here is the last ball. And a thick inside edge onto the pad for no run. That is the end of a good over. A wicket fell in that over. 9 runs coming from it, including that big 6 from Melanie Henry. But that wicket will make the Titans feel a little bit better about the way how things were going from that end. So just 12 balls remaining. The score is 100 for 3. So the last 2 overs are about to be bowled. This is going to be Manat Hundal Melanie Henry in the air. Oh, that could have been taken, but it lands short and then runs past the fielder at mid-off. There's 2 more runs to Melanie Henry. You could argue that the bowler, who is Manat Hundal, dropping one just a little short, and it's played through the offside. The fielder at mid-off could have gone for the catch, but they chose not to. Ends up conceding 2 runs. Short in the air and knocked down to long on. That's all they'll get is just a single. So this brings on to strike Sahasra. So far, she's faced 1 delivery and not scored any runs. And now facing into a stiff wind, plays it into the offside for no run. So anything hit in the air from right now is going to be very difficult, because that wind has picked up. It's blowing right toward the batter. And so it's a stiff wind coming from the north. And it's going to essentially mean that she's going to need to keep this ball on the ground. A quick run taken, a throw coming into the striker's end. Melanie Henry making it safely. But only 8 balls remaining. Melanie Henry now up to 34 from 28. And you get the sense that she is going to be the difference between a score of, say, 120 and something much lower than that. Tossed up, plays it off the back foot to mid-off, and they'll just get a single. So 1 ball now remaining. 7 balls remaining in the innings. 1 ball remaining in the 19th over. Melanie Henry now up to 35 from 29 balls faced. Sahasra Gorla 1 from 3, and she is now on strike, and I would suspect that they want to keep her at this end. Swipe and a miss. They're not going to go for a single there, because I think that Melanie Henry recognizes that she needs to be the one on strike for this over. So for the last over of the innings, the last 6 balls, the score of 105, means that they really do need to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. Speaking of the sun shining, it's an absolutely brilliant day here in Prairie View. Not a cloud in the sky. Temperature? So, last over, Melanie Henry on strike. The bowler is going to be Hiba Shamshad, bowling her last over. Left arm over the wicket. I can tell you that you expect Melanie Henry to be swinging for the fences. And you know that Captain Achini Pereira thinks the same thing, because there's a long on, there's a long off, there is a deep mid-wicket. The fielder who was at cow corner is now inside the circle, but you're expecting this ball to be flying in this direction. So, Miss Poole, I don't know whether or not you've ever to catch a cricket ball. You may get the chance in the next several balls. Into the gap. There should be at least 2 diving stop. That's good work by that fielder running across McGahey. That is good work, and she prevents, or she saves 2 runs for his side. But Melanie Henry, once again, starting out very aggressively, and I anticipate that she will be looking to go big. So, as I was saying, Miss Poole, you've never actually caught a cricket ball. If there were a ball flying in this direction, I was not here to catch it. Would you be able to catch a cricket ball? Have you even cricket ball?
I have not. I've only read like what it's made of, and it looks like if it's headed my direction, I'm gonna dodge first and then attempt to follow through to get it. Okay.
Down the ground, they have to push for two. No, they're not going to push for two. Captain Achina Pereira off of the long on fence and limits the damage to 1 run. So only 4 balls remaining and 108 runs on the board. And it is the new batter Sahasra Gorla, who is 1 from 4, who is on strike. So job 1 for her is to get off of strike. Job 1 for her is to get a single or an odd number of runs. Her priority right now is to get Melanie Henry back on strike for the remaining 3 balls of this innings.
I would say, for Sahasra, this is a golden chance, golden opportunity. Young cricketer coming up. Okay, I'm not going to say anymore.
Well, she tried to be aggressive, gets a top edge, and a simple catch taken in the covers. Now, Melanie Henry was sprinting to get to the striker's end, and in fact, when the catch was taken, Melanie Henry herself was at the striker's end, but because of the new rule that came into effect last October, the new ICC rule, that means that Melanie Henry, unfortunately, has to walk back to the non-striker's end. She's not allowed to be on strike. It is now the new batter who's going to be on strike. And as we see Miss Tamara Poole, who has just had the chance to hold a cricket ball for the first time in her life. Back to you again, Miss Poole. The possibility of you catching one of these balls if it's hit toward you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So maybe your final in between innings is is to just see whether or not maybe we'll put you 30 yards away and hit the ball in the air, see if you can catch it. So 3 balls remaining in the innings. The new batter is going to be top edge. That's going to run her way down the hill. Do they push for 3? Should they try for 3? Melanie Henry has to come back for 3. No, she's not going to come back. So you'll take the 2 runs, but you really need Melanie Henry back on strike. So the new batter is Disha Kaveripakam. Disha, who is an excellent young cricketer, all of 12 years old. And she's in a high-pressure situation here. She's going to be needing to score at least a couple lofts in the air. It's going to be 2 more, I think. Running hard, and it's going to go close to the boundary. Sliding stop. And Melanie Henry wants to come back on strike. That is good work. It's going to be a run out. I think that's out, but that's not consequential. What's consequential is that Melanie Henry gets to face the last ball. That is good aggressive running and a good job by Disha Kaveripakam to decide to come back for that 3rd run. She knew that she was going to run into the danger end. And she essentially sacrificed her wicket for Melanie Henry to be back on strike.
I disagree with you on that, Brian. I think by the new rule, the new batter has to face because it was a run out, isn't it?
No. The new rule only applies to catches. So if it's a catch in the air, then the new batter has to be on strike. But a run out, Melanie Henry is on strike and she stays there. Yeah.
Oh, so that was a good strategy, isn't it? So Mel gets the last ball, facing the last ball of the innings?
That is exactly right. That's why it was a good decision. She essentially sacrificed herself. First of all, she scored at the rate of strike rate of 200. Scored 4 runs in 2 balls, but then sacrificed her last. She ended up going for that last just to be able to get Mel Henry back on strike. So see how much that paid off. 112 for 5. This is the last ball. What is Melanie Henry going to do with this last ball? There's your answer. Knocked down to long on. They have to come back for the second. They do come back. The throw is going to be a run out. So zero risk in that. It's the last ball of the innings. And so the run out effectively is non-consequential. The only thing it means is that instead of 114, the score is now 113. And instead of 5 wickets, it's 6 wickets. But either way, I think an undercooked score and a lot of promise at the beginning of this innings. The ACZ women's fire was looking for 140, according to Captain Ritu Singh. But in looking at the scorecard here, Ritu Singh 33 from 35, Sasha Valabaneni 15 from 22, Melanie Henry not out 39 from 32 with 3 4s and a 6. Mitali Patwardhan 19 from 24. Sahasra Gorla 1 from 5. Disha Kaver Pakam 4 from 2. And Nitya Sivandan run out without facing a ball. The final score is 113 for 6. So we will have a short break, probably 15 or so minutes before the chase. Any last words, Mitali?
So that is 114 to win in the finals of the 2023 Women's Houston Open 2023. I can't believe it's already the final day. I was all planning for it, and then it starts, and now it's almost there. So I think it's a little below par, and we were hoping, the way Melanie started hitting, that they're going to bring it up to 120, 125, and maybe that would have been a fighting score. I mean, I think ACZ does have bowlers. They do have good bowlers and good fielders, and let's see how the second innings go, and we will get back to you guys shortly. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching this. Thank you again to all the parents. I cannot thank the parents enough for bringing their young budding cricketers to the ground, to these games, flying from the different cities, and making this an awesome tournament. Thanking each one of you, and when I say parents, I also mean spouses, I mean the family, I mean the friends, and all the volunteers who've helped me out here, myself and Mangesh, to make this tournament happen. Thanks to all the wonderful coaches and the managers of each of the 6 teams for putting in their efforts to get these players to come here to Houston, play these games. I know that the Cyclones have a small young team. Loudown had a young team, and they've all, I'm sure, experienced a lot to make this tournament successful. Thank you for now. Coming back after a short break, Brian.
So the groundskeepers are doing what they do to the pitch. After about 15 minutes, we'll be right back for the chase. See you soon. Welcome back to the Prairie View Cricket Complex. We are just about to have the start of the chase. The ACZ Women's Fire having scored 113 for 6. And so in order to lift the trophy, the Titans are going to have to score 114. This is Brian Walters. And I'm in the commentary area by Jatinder.
Yep.
Jatinder Singh.
Yep.
With the Loudon Cubs. Good afternoon, Jatinder. Well, good morning, Jatinder.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Conditions like these are rare in US cricket, and I think if we need to plan for the next level and help the United States compete at the international level, facilities like these and tournaments like these will be so helpful in nurturing and developing cricket in the USA. And especially I'll say these facilities are not available to men's cricket as well. So organizing this for women's and certainly gives them a great platform. And the quality of cricket which has been played throughout this tournament, that has really inculcated a culture which I feel it should not stop. This should be the starting, but it should not be the end. And hopefully this setup sets up precedents for the rest of the clubs to arrange for these kind of facilities in different parts of the US, so that we have all-round development in girls cricket. Thank you.
I really appreciate hearing your thoughts on all of that, because I think I completely agree with you. A facility like this does nothing but help in the development of cricket. So tell us a little bit about your club. In fact, before we start that, just to name the principals, Rhea Misra and Danielle McGahee are the two openers for the Titans. And it's Melanie Henry with the ball in hand. Just a bit of a delay while we get settled to get underway here, where the small total of 114 needs to be chased by the Titans to bring home the championship. But tell us, Jatinder, about the Loudon Cubs. Where are you based and what's your program like?
We are pretty new, as far as the club in the Northern Virginia area. But under the able leadership of Coach Cheetah, we are cultivating that skills and the abilities and the attitude in our kids. It's the focus of Loudon Cubs is attitude and play the game in the right spirit. Certainly the focus is a lot on the skills, but attitude and a positive mindset is some of the we aim to develop individuals as a sports person, more be better citizens and better players. So somehow we have just started a few years ago. Most of our training programs are held at Wicket Club. That's a facility in Sterling. Going forward, we are trying to procure our own ground, but that's that's a work in progress, and hopefully we'll be able to make further inroads. Thank you.
That is really good information to have, and thank you for everything that you do to promote cricket. Look, so bit of a delay while we get the scoring underway. I think there's a bit of a concern with the scores, but umpire Owen Brown says the show must go on, and in the meantime we will get the game going as soon as we can here. To the best of our knowledge, it appears that cricket clubs, the scoring mechanism that is ubiquitous and that we're using to continue much of the scoring in cricket that takes place in this country, it is down, and so we're going to have to go old school, as they say, and use an actual piece of paper to do the scoring. But according to umpire Owen Brown, the game needs to keep going. So I think whether the scoring takes place on cricket clubs or whether it takes place on a sheet of paper, they need to get going. And I think we're just about at the point where we can move forward with the game. In the meantime, the principal's Daniel McGahey is on strike, right-handed batter. And Rhea Misra is also a right-hander, and she's at the non-striker's end. And the bowler is Melanie Henry. So Melanie Henry excelled with the bats earlier, top scoring, 39. And here she goes right off the bat, bang on target, gets one off of the outside edge. The throw coming to come back to the striker's end, actually a direct hit, but an easy two. So a moral victory by Melanie Henry as that ball came off of the edge, but they do get 2 runs. So a good start. Once again, the total that is being chased is very much an undercooked total. They only need to score, the Titans, at the rate of 12, make that the rate of 5.65 and over to win. And they've started out with a single, or make that a double off of the first ball. Melanie Henry, good delivery, and this is defended to short mid-wicket for no run. So,
yeah, 2 balls. First ball, 2 runs.
2 deliveries into the chase. Another 118 balls to go, and another 112 runs needed to get. Short and hammered. That is well hit, and it's fielded. Oh, a good piece of fielding at deep mid-wicket, and that limits the damage to 1 run. That's good work by that fielder coming around to her right. That is Sasha Valabaneni. Good piece of work for her, or by her, and that is just a single. Melanie Henry dropping that one too short. She needs to pitch that ball up. That's much better. And this struck straight to short, extra cover for no run. So once again, we're only chasing 111 more runs for victory. And so it's so important, if you are the ACZ Women's Fire, that you get those dot balls in there. Another dot ball hit in the same direction. So just 1 ball remaining here in the first over. 3 runs on the board. Danielle McGahey scored 3 runs so far. And this is Rhea Misra on strike. This is clipped behind square, and they run through for a single. Not the best throw coming in from short, fine leg, but it would have been a single anyway. So that is the end of the first over. 4 runs from that first over. Another 110 needed for victory. We'll be right back. Captain Ritu Singh with the ball in hand to start the second over. First ball is played into the covers for no run. So once again, in order to win the championship, the Titans need to score another 110 runs. 110 needed in 114 balls. So they need to score at the rate of 5.84 runs and over. First over only going for 4 runs, but I don't think that that will concern Titans very much. Once again, inside the first 6 overs, the first 36 balls, only 2 fielders are allowed outside the circle. Those 2 fielders right now, one is at deep square leg, make that deep mid wicket, and the other fielder down here, that is Melanie Henry at long on. So Ritu Singh tosses this one up. This is pulled into the deep. There's that one fielder we just mentioned who is down at deep mid wicket. That is a single. So the 2 fielders in the deep at long on. In fact, now there's a switch. Long on is Melanie Henry, and then there's a fielder out in the deep at sweeping in the covers. So Ritu Singh obviously has a specific plan for each of these 2 batters. For Danielle McGahey, she's expecting her to pull the ball into the deep, so there is a long on and a mid wicket. And then for Ria Misra, she expects for the ball to be going in the area that it just went into the offside. And they run through for a single as that's fielded in the covers. So 6 runs make that 7 runs with 1 ball remaining here in the second over. Once again, this is Captain Ritu Singh, and this is played off the back foot. Wants to go for a run, but not there. That is a good close out to the over. Ritu Singh's first over only going for 3 runs. So 7 runs on the board after 2 overs. Another 107 needed for victory from 108 balls. We'll be right back. Okay, so welcome back to the Prairie View Cricket Complex. Melanie Henry into her second over. First 2 balls of that over have gone for 6 runs. This is a dot ball to start the third. Back here with Miss Tamara Poole representing the city of Prairie View. So, Miss Poole, if you were a betting person, the Titans need another 101 runs, and they need them in 104 balls. Do you think the Titans win this, or do you think the bowling team, the ACZ Women's Fire, win? What are your thoughts?
Do I have them as a new babe in cricket? Me being an optimist, I would say they would. They would have a betting chance because I definitely want to see a win from them. But I would hardly be able to say at this point. But I'm gonna say yes. They have a great chance of winning. Why not?
So there's the statement that cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties. So anything can happen from here. If I were a betting man, this is straight to mid-wicket and put down. That was a really relatively simple chance that was hit directly to Danya Michelini at mid-wicket, and really very catchable and should have been taken, but it burst through the hands. And unfortunately for her, not only does she give up or drop the chance, but also gives up a single. So that easily could have been and probably should have been a wicket. As I mentioned, glorious uncertainties, because a wicket there makes all the difference in the world. You put the batting team on the back foot, but now you have the other opener, Danielle McGahee, who appears to be a very aggressive batter. She's 4 from 5, and she's now back on strike. 15 runs are on the board with 1 ball remaining in the 3rd over. And dropped into the backward point area, underhand throw, not in time, and they run through for a single. So that is the end of 3. Melanie Henry, 2 overs so far, and those 2 overs have cost 12 runs, make that 13 runs. At the end of 3, the score is 16 without loss. So 16 without loss after 3. Ms. Poole, I'm going to ask you to put on your City of Prairie View hat. The team that is batting right now, as Ritu Singh is back, and this is lofted deep over the top of square leg for 6. That is a brilliant strike off of the bat of Danielle McGahee. Ritu Singh dropping short and also a little bit too straight and pulled over square leg for 6. That is a huge hit, and that takes the pressure off of the batting side. The scoring rate had been around 3 runs and over. It's now rocketed up to 6.95. 1 ball into the 4th over, and the score is now 22 without loss. Tossed up and knocked down the ground. This is going to be 4 more. Just past us here at the commentators area. I would ask Melanie Henry if she has thoughts, but she probably wouldn't want to talk to me right now. But 2 deliveries, 10 runs, and all of a sudden the Titans look like they have a plane to catch. And as I started saying, putting your City of Prairie View hat on, the team that is batting right now, the Titans, are from Canada. So they've traveled all the way down from Canada to come and play in this tournament. So if there's somebody who lives in Canada who is listening right now and watching, in fact, there are a few people online watching right now. I suspect several of them are from Canada. In the air and landing short of mid-off. That could have been caught, but it was not taken, and they run through for a single. But anyway, what can you tell people who are in Canada about the City of Prairie View and why they need to make it a destination?
Well, like I said, Prairie View is a hidden gem. It is reminiscent of most places that carry more of a natural environment and hills and valleys. So I think someone from Canada that does appreciate more of a naturistic and scenic views would appreciate Prairie View for the value that it is, being a rural community that's quite industrious. In some ways.
So in this area where we are now, the cricket or the Prairie View Cricket Complex, if you were here 5 years ago, this would have all been sort of forest area. And the development that has taken place in the last 5 or so years, this place is unrecognizable. It essentially is an international level cricket facility right here in the middle of seemingly nowhere, Prairie View, Texas, that attracts people not just from throughout the U.S., but internationally as well. And that's a pretty big piece of the puzzle as we look to grow the sport here in this country.
Absolutely, Preview is a nice retreat, and as we grow as more of a complex in such a ways, you'll see the area develop, but we do our best to retain more of a natural environment, something that's true too. And that's what I appreciate about the cricket field being here, is you saw the forestry go away, but you saw something preserved, which was the natural element that's still being used in a way that's resourceful and purposeful without damaging the natural environment.
Absolutely wonderful. And as somebody who grew up in the Houston area and now lives in Austin, Prairie View is, in my mind, has grown from just something that you drive through on the way to Houston to being an actual destination in and of itself. So the last delivery here in the fourth over is a dot ball. At the end of the fourth, the score is 30 without loss. Four overs bowled, and the score is 30 without loss. Rhea Misra is on 11 from 14. Daniel McGahee 17 from 10, and just another 84 runs needed for the Titans to take the championship. And happy to be joined here in the commentators area by Meghna. Did I get that right? Meghna is the manager of the Seattle Cyclones. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Meghna, good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much, Brian.
Meghna, as somebody who is from Seattle, I will tell you that that object that's in the sky that is shining down on us is called the sun. I know you don't get to see that very often, but here in the Houston area, let's just say it's a little bit more sunny and more pleasant than Seattle. As this ball is knocked into the outfield, they'll get a couple. But tell us a little bit about the Seattle Cyclones. How did the club come to be, and what brings you here?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Women's Houston Open organizers here, Mitali and also Mangesh. They have done amazing job, and thank you for inviting us here, because this is our first time ever coming here, and girls had an amazing experience. How we came together, Brian, it's a story. So we have couple little girls, under 13 mostly, playing in the academy. And
excuse me just a second, I have to point out what just happened. You don't see that happen very often, but it happens a little bit more now than it had in the past. A run out at the non-strikers end. Melanie Henry with the presence of mind to notice that Rhea Misra was backing up too far, and she immediately knocked the bail off and immediately appealed to umpire Myron James, and he had no choice but to raise the finger, because in looking at the replay, she essentially was walking out of her crease without realizing where she was and what this situation was. So she took off walking. That is a lesson to young cricketers everywhere. Who, if you're at the non-strikers end, wait until the ball leaves the bowler's hand before you go walking down the crease. So A long way of saying there's a cheap and easy wicket that has just been sacrificed, but hopefully that's a lesson not only for Ria Misra, but for anybody who's watching this game who has designs on being a cricketer of any repute. Stay in the crease until the ball has been released.
And that's what you call a man-kedding, right? It came from the last name Mankad, which comes from Maharashtra in India. But that's what's called a man-kedding. And that is the first one in this particular tournament. And thanks to Mel. But hard luck, Ria Mishra. And as Brian said, yes, this is a big lesson learned for all those budding stars out there. Be very careful when you take the start. Wait and watch.
So I had to get that off my chest.
Of course.
So I am very sorry to have interrupted you. You were saying about how the club came together. Please go on.
So, yeah, thank you, Brian. And that was a wicket to watch for sure. So, how we came together is a story for sure. This is the first time, as I said, first time ever we are coming to such a big tournament. And we have few women cricketers who are interested in playing leather ball, and they've been practicing. And we thought, okay, what if we put a team together with women cricketers and these youngsters, budding players, and some girls from ARCL, which is our recreational league, women cricketers, we came, and then some girls from ML CAS Academy came together, and MSK Prasad Academy. So we have a couple academies. They came together. We put a team together. We traveled. We worked with Mitali on logistics and how to get there. She was very helpful. Same with Mangesh. I mean, maintaining these grounds and bringing us here, it's not, oh my God. Okay, I will give you the mic back.
Wow. Melanie Henry dropping short and Danielle McGahey pouncing all over it, pulling it massively over the top of square leg for another 6. So once again, there are 38 runs on the board, just another 76 to go. I hope to be able to have you tell your story before this match is finished, so please go on.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, for the mic again. So yeah, it was just awesome to come here and play at PVCC, specifically on these grounds. And our girls actually improvised so much from one game to another, and by the time we ended the tournament, they improved so much. And just watching these great players play here, also it's a great experience for them, and that's why we are here to watch finals, because our girls can learn from this, right? So it was an amazing tournament, organization wise and everything, and I hope that women cricket just continues to we should give more exposure to these girls, and it continues to flourish in the way it is, right? And hope we get more opportunities to come and play, and hopefully these girls have a bright future. All right. Thank you so much.
You have to thank me. I'm showing up here just to be able to lend whatever I can in terms of describing what goes on here. The hard work is from the people who you mentioned, the organizers and the maintainers of these facilities. But from your perspective as a team manager, you mentioned how the team came together, but do you think that there is any lesson to be learned from a tournament such as this that you can apply back home?
Of course, I mean, there were so many learnings throughout in last 2 days, and definitely we want to take we want to take a lot back home and improve our skill sets, fielding. I mean, the level of cricket here and batting, bowling, you just look at everything. We want to take home and just work harder and harder in order to come to that level, right? It's our first time, and girls will get there. And it's just that it'll take time. It takes time for everything. They have to work hard. They have to put efforts and come up. And everything matters. The discipline in the game, the strategy and everything, which they are learning from this, right? And we'll take that back home for sure and build up on that.
So, what is your experience with cricket specifically?
So my daughter is actually on the cricket team right now. Her name is Radha, and I actually play recreational cricket in Seattle. I've been playing for last 20 years, one of the founder members of women's recreational cricket. I come from sports background. I was a captain of Indian team for women's water polo, and so I played all my life. I swam and I played water polo. So I am a true sportsman, and if with any game I am there to promote and bring it on, right? I will play pretty much any game. So, and cricket is national love for India. So I love to play cricket. It's the passion.
So I didn't realize that I was sitting next to sporting royalty. Tell us about your career playing water polo for India.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, just forming a team was so tough, and just building a team of, at that level. It was, so we were all good swimmers, but there was no women's water polo. And our coach at that time, who's an Asian level player, Sanjay Karandikar, he said, we can put this team together. You're all good swimmers. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot, right? And then we worked really hard for 2 years to put that team together. And there were other players from, oh my God, I have to give you the mic again.
I am so sorry, because it appears as though Danielle McGahey wants to end this match in this over. 4-4-6 in the last 3 deliveries, 15 runs from the over so far with 1 ball to come. That takes the score above 50. It's now 53 for 1, just another 61 runs needed. And all of a sudden, it feels like the last 2 overs have seen this match change entirely, where there was some pressure being built by the ACZ Women's Fire, but all of a sudden, Danielle McGahey, who is now up to 39 from 19, again seems like she has a plane to catch, because she's off to the races, almost single-handedly taking the game away from the ACC Women's Fire. And Captain Ritu Singh being treated very rudely here. This is the last ball in her over, and this time there's a change made, and there's a protection out in the deep on the covers, or on the cover boundary. Just a single, but 16 runs coming from that, the 6th over. That is the end of the power play. At the end of the power play, the score is 54 for 1. By comparison, at the end of the power play in the first inning, the score was 27. So they've literally doubled the score in the power play. So they're definitely off to the races. I want to get the rest of your comments in before the end of this match, because it feels like it'll be finished in about 4 overs. So tell me about your most memorable match playing water polo for India.
The Indian team went only once for water polo, but then I would actually like to mention a moment for when I was playing my nationals for Maharashtra, which is the state where I was born. And I was one of the youngest player on the team, my first national ever for water polo. And there was a break, and the opponent team had 2 players driving towards our goal, and our goalkeeper was as new as me, and I was like, what do I do? And then I actually went and just gave little jerk to the player, and then she passed the ball, and I intercepted that ball right in between. I came pretty much above my waist in the water and intercepted that ball. That was a moment of my life. I will never forget that goal which I saved. Yeah.
It's interesting that even though we're talking about something that happened 20 years ago?
More than 25 years ago. 25
years ago, that you still remember it with such detail and such specificity.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would never forget that. Never. Every moment of my water polo, I will never forget, pretty much. Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. This is a great tournament for our girls to be here, and I cannot thank all of you, the organizers, for bringing us here and having us here play at BVCC, right? Thank you.
Such a pleasure talking to you. That is knocked into the deep. Good sliding stop at deep extra cover to limit the damage to 1 run. But the dedication that you all have shown to come all the way down here, the experience is something that the young ladies will never forget. And certainly for you who, again, I didn't realize I was talking to a superior athlete. That's really exciting to have people of your caliber come down here and experience what we have to offer here in Prairie View. So thank you very much. So back to the game. The score is 56-1. We're out of the power play. 6.1 overs bowled. Another 83 runs needed. Make that 83 balls available, but another 58 runs, make that 57 runs as that single is taken to backward square. So back here at Prairie View, forgive us for that short pause. But once again, we are probably close to the back end of this match because all of a sudden, this Titans team has grabbed the bowling by the scruff of the neck. And they are really appearing to make short work of this chase. So 63 runs are on the board. 1 ball remaining here in the 7th. By the way, the bowler is Stravia. And this is dropped down behind point. Wanted to go for a single there, Daniel McGahee, but chose not to. So that is a dot ball. That's the end of 7. 63 runs, but importantly, 56 of those 63 have come in the last 5 overs as they're off to the races. And so, thank you, Mr. Mangesh Chowdhury, for bringing some refreshments. We appreciate that. And after 7, the score is 63 without loss. Make that 63-1. So 7 overs, 63-1, another 51 runs needed, and Disha Kaveri Pakam is the bowler coming from the highway end. First ball is knocked into deep extra cover for a single. So once again, the overall rate at which scoring is taking place right now has accelerated in the last few overs. They're now scoring at the rate of 8.93 and over. And this is hammered in the air for a while, but now the sweeper out in the deep has more work to do. So 2 singles to start. Much more sedate start to the over. Disha Kaveripakam keeping that ball outside the line of off stump and keeping that length just short of driving length. So forcing the batters to hit into the offside, which to me feels like a good plan. Tossed up. Now this one is a little too straight and it's punched to mid-wicket for a single. 3 consecutive singles. So just another 48 runs needed for victory. And now we hear crowds chanting, "We want 6." And I'll tell you what, Danielle McGahey from this side with the wind helping her, that is always something that's on the cards. She pulls this one though down to mid-wicket. So 4 deliveries and 4 singles. A little bit more of a sedate start. A little bit of a chance for an overthrow, but ended up not taking it. So 6-7 for 1. Just another 47 runs needed from 74 balls. So they only need to score at the rate of 3.81 runs and over to win this. So essentially 4 runs and over, they win this easily. But you think that they'd be able to get more than that or score more heavily than that. Next ball is played into the outfield for yet another single. So 5 balls, 5 singles. Disha doing well to not concede any boundaries, but once again, here's the "we want 6" chance. And this is something else that we need to be aware of, because as aggressive as Danielle McGahey has been, you know that she'd be willing to oblige. In the air, this is not going to be 6, but it will be over the top of extra cover. That's Melanie Henry inside the circle at extra cover. And the ball races away past her for 4. So that is a boundary to end things here in the 8th. 9 runs coming from that over. Another 42 runs needed for victory in 11 overs. Make that in 12 overs. And the scoring rate that's required from here is 3.5. So this is really becoming a very one-sided match. 72 for 1 the score. So Stravia back into the attack. This first ball is too wide and it's cut away towards the boundary, deep backwards point, and they'll jog through for a couple. So once again, another 40 runs needed. This is Stravia into her second over. First over went for 9, and she started off with a double here, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to limit the runs. And if you don't start taking wickets, not that you don't have a chance of winning, but it's very unlikely that without wickets you'll win from here. And this is good running between the wickets, just runs coming really very easily for the Titans. And once again, this is starting to feel like a very one-sided match. Unfortunately for the ACZ Women's Fire, it's not going the way that they had planned. And this one is knocked down to deep mid wicket for a single. So the wind picking up just a little bit. Hopefully you can still hear us okay. 3 balls remaining here in the 9th over. This is played into the offside, and once again, just easy runs coming. 9 wickets in hand, just another 37 to get. And a pretty straightforward chase. This is starting to feel like this match might be over sometime within the next 4 or so overs. And it might be less if Danielle McGahey continues doing what she's doing. And this is lofted in the air. Melanie Henry could have come in looking for a catch, but she chose not to. And it landed just in front of her. So just another single. And that single brings up 50 for Danielle McGahey. Tremendous start to the innings for her. It's feeling already like a match-winning innings. But she essentially has come in from the very beginning, playing shots without much risk. And she's experienced or exhibited a strong power game. Couple of sixes in that 50. She's now up to 50 from 28. In fact, she's back on strike now. 50 from 28. And that is the end of the over. So at the end of 9, the score is 79 for 1.
ACZ just let that 4 go. That was not a 4. Absolutely could have been fielded, but adding to the score and helping the Titans out. That was, which over is it? So the Titans are now at 83 for 1 after, how many overs is that? 9.1. I guess they're cruising towards their target, which is 114 to win. And now Danielle has been joined by number 18, which is Amarpal Kaur. She's also joining the party, ready to finish this before the 10 overs, you think, Brian?
Oh, for that to happen, they'd need to score 30 in the next 4 balls. So that's probably not going to happen. but it's certainly not going to allow. Look at this, pulled into the deep. That is Captain Ritu Singh, who does well to keep that from getting by her. That was hit flat and powerfully. Those are never easy to stop. But Ritu Singh doing well to keep that from getting past her. She's put herself into the hot position at deep mid-wicket. And paddled around the corner now. There should be at least 2 more. They'll get too easily. In fact, that's the keeper who has to do all the work. And they jog. Yeah, easy 2. And just now another 27 runs needed for victory. We're 2 deliveries away from being at the halfway point of the innings. But again, I don't think there's any realistic way that this innings or that this match is going to go the full 20 overs. Lofted straight, that may be 4. It's going to run close to the boundary. Oh, diving effort coming around by that fielder running around from long on. Make that long off. That is Stravia coming all the way across but not able to get to it. So yet another boundary. And 1 ball remaining here in the 10th. Look at that. The score is 9-1. Just another 23 runs needed for victory. As a comparison, at this stage in the first innings, the ACZ Women Fire had 49 runs on the board. So they've almost been doubled up to the stage by the Titans. The Titans have 9-1 with just 1 more ball remaining. And this is knocked in the same direction, but this will be stopped this time by Stravia off the rope at long off and limits the damage to 1. So 92 is the score, currently scoring at the rate of 9.2 runs and over. Another 10 overs remaining, but once again, I don't think we'll need anything near that many given the scoring rate. 92 for 1, we'll be right back. So the 92 for 1 is the score. We're into the 11th over. Tossed up and defended. Good running. Immediately taking off was Danielle McGahey. That is good running. Excellent run on her part. And she is back on strike. Danielle, she absolutely is doing good work here, not only with the bat, but running between the wickets. Very conscious of what the field is like and where the opportunities for quick runs are. And so they're managing this chase beautifully now. She's looking to go big. Wanted to target that area deep mid-wicket. But that good line being bowled by Stravia outside the line of off stump, looking to pull that away over mid-wicket and not able to get to it was Danielle McGahey. And now you see a change being made in the field as that fielder deep square leg is being brought around a little bit more to her right. Stravia again has this one lofted over the top, running away down towards the boundary, deep extra cover, and it is pulled back just in front of the rope, but they'll easily get 2 more. So once again, just given where we are with everything and looking at where all the scoring opportunities are, there's scoring opportunities all around the field. And it feels right now that with only 19 runs to go, the options are relatively limited for Captain Ritu Singh and the ACZ Women's Fire, as the Titans appear to be marching to a pretty straightforward victory. Danielle McGahey, 53 from 31. Excellent batting from her. Amar Palkar, 28 from 18. And this is again good running. Just professional setup by these players. You can tell that the level of cricket IQ is very high. You can hit big, but you can also just drop the ball into the areas and run those quick singles. Good understanding between the batter and the non-striker, and just picking up runs and picking them off at ease. There's really very little risk in their approach so far. No run there that time, defended into the covers. And for you young cricketers, you hear the comment or the communication between the two at the wicket. You hear immediately after the shot is played, you hear the loud no, which again is something very important for all of these young cricketers to pay attention to. Now just paddled around the corner. No run. In fact, a single, and that is the end of the over. So at the end of 11, the score is 98 for 1. .98 for 1, and this is now Nithya Sivandan, who's going to be bowling from the highway end. Just a small matter of 16 more runs for victory by the Titans in what's really, again, for the last several overs, felt like a very one-sided match. Down the leg side, this is going to be a wide, and it will be an additional run. So 2 runs to the total. So Mitali, this is starting to feel, in fact, not starting to. This has felt for several overs now like a pretty one-sided match. So your thoughts as the tournament organizer and manager as we come towards the back end of this tournament?
Thanks, Brian. To be honest, I was really expecting there to be a good, tight match, just like the semifinals, which happened yesterday. The semi-final one, which happened between the Hurricanes and the Titan, that was a very close game. The Hurricanes lost only by 3 runs. The girls put up a big fight against all the experienced Titan players. Coming to this finals, wish there was some more score. The scores, as we said, was below par, and the Titans are just cruising to it. It's just 13 overs. Is that right? Oh.
Into the 12th over.
Into the 12th over, and we're already at 101 for 1, with Danielle at 55 and Amarpal Kaur at 55.
Goodness.
Another six from Danielle. As we all said, I think she has a flight just in the next 2 hours or so that she's finishing it off, so she can just get on the plane and go home with the trophy. This game's almost over, right?
108 for 1, so just another 6 runs required for victory. There's another shot played down to cow corner. That's Ritu Singh, the captain. So efforts obviously have been essentially what has made us be here today. The organizing aspect of things, the ability to not only organize your own team, but the entire tournament. So just in terms of thinking what is next for Houston Women's Tournament or Houston Women's Open, what might the next, say, 5 or so years look like? If you're allowing yourself to think long term, and of course you have a national focus also with the role that you play with USA Cricket, kind of talk about what this might mean for the big picture for women's cricket in general.
Yes, Brian. Definitely, this is our second year with the Houston Women Open T20 tournament, and I can see a lot of improvement in the organizing this tournament since the last year. We've learned from the lessons from last year, applied it to this year, and as we know, this is a process, this is a project, and every project always has lessons learned. Some risks are taken, some pay off, some don't pay off. Learned a lot every time I work on this. I learn from it and I try to apply it to the next one. So definitely I have made my list, and again, as I said, thanks to God Almighty, we have got a good weather here, and that's another 6, and that finishes this finals, I think, and that's the game over. The Titans have won the finals against the Atlanta Fires. Congratulations to the Titans team, and over to you, Brian.
My goodness, tremendous effort by the Titans. Danielle McGahey, take a bow. 68 from 36 with 4 4s and 5 6s. Absolutely brutal ball striking by her. Amar Palkar cannot be ignored either. 31 from 22 with 3 boundaries. And the only blemish on the scorecard, if you are the Titans, is Rhea Mishra, who was run out at the non-strikers end, 11 from 14. But what a tremendous effort. The Titans knocking off the runs in a little bit over 12 over. Just absolute brutal striking by them. And they take this one, pretty straightforward victory in the end. So as the players exchange their handshakes, we will be announcing that we'll take maybe a short break, and then we'll be back with coverage of the closing ceremony. In fact, that may be the end of our coverage for the rest of the day. But big picture, the Titans pick the Houston Women's Open Tournament for 2023 by the small victory of small target, or the small margin of victory in wicket. Tremendous effort. Once again, this is Brian Walters. Happy to have been here with you to bring you the description of what happened. And we will be joining you again at a cricket match very soon. Thank you, and bye for now.